Unfortunately, at the moment, the freedom of expression is under attack. Same, the freedom of assembly, because many human rights defenders and journalists, they are facing threats and they are also facing violent attacks. In many cases, in the cases of assassinations and targeted killings, no one is claiming responsibility for that. And unfortunately, at the moment, we do not have a government to respond to what is going on in the country. So there is a blanket amnesty for attacks, particularly that is conducted by the Taliban. And there is also a systematic way of attacking and targeting human rights defenders and journalists with absolute amnesty there. And for me, the most painful part was that I was involved in evacuation of many human rights defenders and journalists and other women, whether they were entrepreneurs, whether they were politicians, whether they were working for the government or other aspects. The most painful part was that in the past 20 years, so much investment went into that, to build these capacities, to create this new generation of Afghan women and men who could have made Afghanistan a very different place. But then I had to take them out. I had to help them to get out. And that was the most painful part, because, everything that we have invested, everything that we have worked, everything that we have, literally we invested upon, we had to, just take it out. Maybe for women in Europe, for women in America, now they have a different phase of fighting for equality. But definitely they are not fighting for the same things that they started 100 years ago. But for me, I started a fight 20 years ago, and after 20 years, I'm just going to the zero, and I have to start and rebuild for everything that happened for the past 20 years, and it was just gone in a matter of days. So I think the future, unfortunately, it looks very bleak to me, but at the same time, I'm also quite hopeful. I'm really hopeful with this new, a kind of wave of women that are coming out and they're asking for their rights. They're not asking for anything out of ordinary. They're asking for their fundamental and natural rights. They're asking for the right to work. They're asking the right to have an income. They're asking the right to have education. They're asking the right to, to have, to play an active part in social, political, and economic life of the country. And many of these women were empowered for the past 20 years. They have had education, they have qualifications, and they have been working as teachers, as doctors, as engineers, as journalists, as in so many, as accountants, financiers, and so many other aspects that they were working. And now pushing them back to home and ignoring and refusing to accept their fundamental rights, it has a backlash. First of all, what we really need is international solidarity. But my hope is with the people, my hope is with organizations that still believe in core human rights values, that they should stand with us and they should continue supporting us, and they should continue to give us the voice that we need, and to continue pressuring, the Taliban, Pakistan, and other countries that are supporting the Taliban, and also pressuring the US and Norwegian governments to do more, because they were part of the chaos. We need support for protection. We need support for relocation. We need support for creating a space for human rights defenders where they can freely express their views, their concerns. And again, we need international solidarity.